Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream here on the fellow KGB channel. We're doing a live mock draft. This was kind of an impromptu one. I got the Friday day off. We're just going to be doing a live drafters.com best ball draft. What's going to happen is we have the 9th overall spot here. It's going to go 20 rounds. It's considered a fast draft. It's like a minute timer per pick. So McCaffrey off the board, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. We'll hang out for the whole live stream and we'll just keep making our picks. What's cool about drafters.com, I think we have a sponsorship coming in the way, so I'll have a promo code for you guys eventually. But for $1.10, you can do these live best ball drafts. I know it's not huge winnings. I think you win like $7.20. But for me, I love doing, you can see I have a bunch of drafts like currently in progress. So I do a bunch of these $1 drafts, and then I'm working on a best ball championship draft while we do it. So it's a lot of fun. The live action drafting, we can see how it goes, but I just want to thank everybody for hanging out. Yeah, Justin, what's going on, man? We're doing a live best ball draft on drafters.com. If you guys are new to drafters.com, I do have, there's a link in the description below. If you guys wanted to play, you get a sign up bonus. I did put my refer a friend link in there, but I think I've been talking to them. I think we're going to be getting a potential partnership where they give me a different promo code. But drafters.com, we've used them before. Hop in a lobby. They got the best ball championship. I'll probably do one of those videos sometime soon, show you guys what I'm doing for that. But just a lot of fun drafting. We're almost up to pick. So McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. I'm going to kind of toggle the view here. So we got the ticker on the top. I don't know. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the ticker, or do you guys want to kind of see the full board? I'm not sure which one I care for, but we're going 20 rounds today. So thank you. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We got nothing going on. It's Friday. I hope everyone has a great holiday weekend. I will be doing a live stream later tonight too. I think I'm going to set it up for 5:30. But we're going to be, I don't know. Tonight's just going to be kind of a news day. We'll look at some things. I got some new things cooking on the fantasyfellowship.com. I want to start doing some studies on the second-year players, because there's a ton of them this year. I mean, you got Jonathan Taylor. He's the highest second-year player. Najee Harris is a rookie, but otherwise, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers. Did I skip over Cam Akers? Cam Akers went 1-7 overall. Wow. And then you're talking Tyreek Hill here just went. So I can maybe take Kelsey. I can take Jonathan Taylor. Nick Chubb is a guy that I do prefer sometimes too. Because I like to wait for the tight end position, I know I won't get. I'm not going to get Darren Waller at the 3-9 here. So if I want a top 10, if I want a top tight end, I have to take it here. But I think if I just stick to my rankings, and again, these are my projections that you can get on the fantasyfellowship.com. I've got Nick Chubb as my RB5. When did that happen? Oh, actually, let me filter here. So I'm going to take Nick Chubb here. We got 2 seconds. Did I get it in? Just got it in at the nick of time. So Aiden's saying, oh, we'll target Chenault at some point. We're gonna go after Diggs. If we can get Diggs on the comeback, sometimes he falls a little bit. I don't mind taking another running back or wide receiver here. So we'll watch for Stephon Diggs. He's my wide receiver 1. I just updated too on the fantasyfellowship.com. I think I even put it under the free tab. So if you want to check out some of the free stuff, I put my best ball ownership stats, and all this information is from the drafters. Like we can actually just go look at it here, the ownership. So I've been doing a bunch of these. These are my top owned. Nick Chubb's probably he's my number 1 owned running back. I got a couple other like deep running backs that I've been taking, but I like LaVisca, a couple of Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins. That's what's fun about best ball is I keep track of all this for you. You get your shares, and you see where it adds up at the end of the year. And what's cool about best ball, there's no Aiden or Justin, have you guys played best ball leagues before? What I like about them is you just draft them and you don't have to worry about it. It's fun to check in on them every other week or so. I don't pay too much attention to them, but they do a good job of telling you, oh, I'm in the money for this league, or you kind of just check the reports and see how it's going. But we just see a huge run on running backs. After we took Chubb, we get Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler. There goes Diggs, Mixon, Gibson, Jonathan Taylor. I really wanted Gibson. God dang it. So Aaron Jones sticks out. We could take a guy like Hopkins. We could take Ridley. I do like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but maybe not right now. I think even with do we take Aaron Jones, or do we go get a wide receiver here? I think I'm going to pull the trigger on Aaron Jones because he's a top 10 running back any way you shake it. Even with Jordan Love, I get that the defense would kind of queue up on the passing game, and they would just kind of load the box there, I think. But Aaron Jones, he's going to be using the passing game. He's a PPR running back here. He's going to get us our catches. I do have Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, let me filter by PPR. I have Aaron Jones as my RB7. He's in for a career workload for the passing game, I think. Because if it is Jordan Love's going to – the thing about Jordan Love is he can execute the ball. He can get the ball out really quickly. He can find Devontae Adams. He can check it down. And because Jamal Williams is gone, I don't know if they trust A.J. Dillon quite as much. So I have a career year for receiving numbers for Aaron Jones. To me, he's a top 10 back, so I have no problem getting him. After we took Jones, you see Adams, Najee Harris, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley. But yeah, you guys got to get into some drafters.com. And the promo code that I have below, if you sign up and you never played before, you're going to get a 50% match bonus. So you put $20 in, they'll give you free $10. And if we can get Waller, like Waller's going to go. Like that's the thing. If you're one of the top, 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, you probably are going to get Darren Waller to fall to you at the end of round 2. This is probably the earliest I'm starting to see Darren Waller go, and it makes sense. I might have a hard time passing up on AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and things like that. So Waller gets you top. I think Waller's top 2. The thing with Kittle, I really like George Kittle, but if that offense goes to Trey Lance, you still got to satisfy Deebo Samuel. You have to satisfy Brandon Ayuk, and it's a running team. Whereas with the Raiders, Darren Waller is the offensive chess piece. I think they're going to kind of switch up Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. It's still going to be Josh Jacobs leading that backfield, but it's going to be, if you just look at the offense, it's Darren Waller is the focal point of that offense. So I think he's more valuable, and it would not surprise me if he outscores Travis Kelce this season. But yeah, Kittle in the 3rd round, that's a tough one. For me, I'd probably take A.J. Brown. I find myself just wanting Darren Waller. If I don't get Kelce or Kittle, that's fine. I do have shares of Kittle, but getting Darren Waller has been a priority for me lately. Yep. And we will look at CD for sure. I'm actually working on I'm working on let me see if I can share it. I'm working on a new where is it? There we go. We're working on the new thumbnail for tonight. We got Gibson, CD Lamb, and Cam Akers. We're going to talk about some RB2 or some year 2 players. So I'm excited about that. But let's go back to the draft. Are we up to pick? We are almost up to pick. Let me get my boxes reorganized here. So let's see here. Moving into the top of the 3rd, you got Dobbins, you got Kittle, you have A.J. Brown, Mike Thomas, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Chris Carson. We are on deck. Allen Robinson, he's an interesting guy at the top here. Let me see. He had over 150 yards every game with Dak last year. Yes. I could put Chenault on it. I could sneak him in there. So what's going on, Sean or Liam? Thanks for hanging out with us today. We're up to pick, though. We got 2 stud running backs, Nick Chubb, and Aaron Jones. Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, CD Lamb. This is probably who I'm looking at. I think it makes sense to take Terry McLaurin, though, here. I don't have – for me, because I do so many best balls, I don't have as much ownership. And if kind of my rule is if you have a big league draft coming up at the end of August, if you don't get Antonio Gibson, you want Terry McLaurin. And for me, I will always Terry McLaurin is one of my favorite players to watch. If you remember Terry McLaurin when he played with, let me pull up. When Terry McLaurin had, who was that? Was it Case Keenum? Case Keenum for like the first half of his rookie season. That's when he was just destroying. You see some of these games here. This is a 2019 game log. He was just catching touchdowns, and I think Ryan Fitzpatrick can do some really nice things for that offense. So after we take Terry, you get A-Rob, you get Kareem Hunt at 311. Wow. Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, CD Lamb, David Montgomery. Now we're up to pick here. I like Mike Evans in a best ball league. Robert Woods, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore. If so, the other rule too is if I don't get Gibson, I think I'm going to take Robert Woods here. it's between one of the Bucs receivers or one of the Rams receivers. I'm just going to take Robert Woods, first name that comes to mind. So we kind of got, two top 15 wide receivers. For me, I like getting either, if you can get a Bucs receiver or a Rams receiver, it's a really good move. And then the thing too with Carolina, if you don't get DJ Moore, go get Robbie Anderson. He's a little bit cheaper. So I love getting DJ Moore, but if we scroll down here, we can get Robbie Anderson really cheap. He's going at around 68th overall. So we'll look for him on the comeback here at maybe 5'9" or 6'4". Maybe that's where we pull up on Robbie Anderson. And Kyle Pitts, he's starting to creep up too. I'm probably not going to get Kyle Pitts. We might be in the TJ Hawkinson range. So that's going to be interesting to see. But so far, I like this draft. We got Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Terry McLaurin, and Robert Woods. If we look at my rankings real quick, I have McLaurin as wide receiver 12, and I have Woods as wide receiver 14. The only guys that I think were available were Lockett, and maybe did we pass on Cooper? Was Cooper on the board? No, Cooper went. So technically I got, the guys that were highest on my boards here. And then I do have, I got Cooper Kupp. The difference between these players, if I look at the projections here, from Cooper, I guess we'll go from my wide receiver 12 is McLaurin. From McLaurin down to Cooper Kupp, it's a difference of 10 points. So I kind of view all those guys in one big, massive tier. So it's kind of a preference call there. Is there an RB2, 2 receiver, and a flex? Let me show you the settings real quick. So we're starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. And then what's my favorite thing is there's no kickers or defenses. I love that. Don't need to waste any picks or thoughts or time with the defense and the kickers. So we're moving into the 5th round. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe if you are new. Next week's going to be fun. I got a lot of stuff cooking next week. I got some footballguys.com. They messaged me. I'm going to be writing something for one of their articles coming up. So I'm going to do some videos on that research. A lot of fun stuff coming up next week. But after we took Robert Woods, you see Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin. There goes Mahomes, Evans, Kupp, DJ Moore. Look at all this kind of gold color. I've been saying it for a while. Wide receiver 4, round 4 is a wide receiver round. I think that's the juiciest part. Whether you get one of the Bucs receivers, one of the Cowboys receivers, one of the Rams receivers, or DJ Moore, I'm smitten with that group of receivers there. And yeah, that's the thing with Cooper Kupp. He's a PPR value. He's going to get you your high double-digit floor, and he's going to be safe week to week. So with a best ball league, a guy like, let's just pull up Terry McLaurin's perfect for a best ball league, by the way. That's why I tend to pick him. And just the other thing too is best ball kind of makes you think about ceilings a little bit more. Guys that have big upside games, they might not be consistent, as week to week. But as we look at it here, are we almost up to pick? We are getting close. Who are we going to pull up here? I'm going to pull up Robert Woods. So I like Robert Woods as a best ball receiver because he sees some 28s, some 30s, some 20s. And he does have a relatively high floor here too. So I like his ability to get over 20s pretty consistently. And Allen, Lamar, or Lockett. Okay, so the quarterbacks are starting to fall to us. I don't know if Aiden was in our draft last night, but for me, when I'm filtering through this, we could get Allen, we could get Lamar, you can get Kyler Murray yet, but look how deep we can get Russell Wilson or Herbert. I don't have a problem waiting for one of those guys. And then because it's best ball, you're going to want to get another quarterback, so we can wait for a Stafford. Aaron Rodgers is a free square at this point if you want to play that way. But I think I'm going to wait for Russ Wilson. Now, the guy that sticks out, I really like T. Higgins. I also think if we want TJ Hawkinson, this is our last opportunity to do so. Guys, we could even get Dak Prescott yet on the comeback. But I'm really looking at TJ Hawkinson here. You guys like your top tight ends. This is the last chance we're going to get TJ Hawkinson, so I'm going to do so. And now we're kind of set up. We have a really nice balanced floor. I think the Ravens are going to be in for a much better season. And if you look at Lamar's last handful of games here, should I do a zoom in? Lamar's last, month and a half, 2 months, he was just on fire. There was a train wreck against Buffalo in the playoffs, but 6 straight games, over 21 fantasy points. It was, kind of rough and up and down throughout the beginning of the year, but So we missed on Josh Allen. There goes Beckham. There goes Prescott. So now we have a decision to make. If Lamar is there, I think it's between Lamar or Murray. Should we pull one of these guys? Okay, Lamar just went. So maybe it makes sense for us to get the last. This is perfect. I think this board fell really, really nice to us. We got maybe Kyler Murray could be the QB1. Should we take Murray? I mean, we're not going to get – the thing is we're not going to get Robbie Anderson on the way back. So if I take Robbie Anderson here, we're kind of punting on quarterback Herbert or Russell Wilson falling to us. Because we start 3 wide receivers, I think I'm going to do it. Let's try waiting on quarterback. I just got Robbie Anderson. So now our starters are locked in. You have Chubb and Aaron Jones. You have McLaurin, Robert Woods, Robbie Anderson. Those guys are all, to me, like top 15, top 20 wide receivers as a floor. And then TJ Hawkinson, who already was the tight end number 5 last year. He's only going to go up here. It's going to be a career year for the guy. So, yeah, we locked in Robbie Anderson. I feel really good about this. And I can't get over the Carolina Panthers potential for DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. If you look at the PPR numbers from last year, Teddy Bridgewater was able to support Curtis Samuel, wide receiver 23. There's Robbie Anderson, wide receiver 20, and DJ Moore, wide receiver 25. We're going to remove Curtis Samuel from all this. Sure, you're going to get some Terrace Marshall Jr. Sprinkled in there as the wide receiver 3. You're going to get some – who's the Seahawk? David Moore. They signed a Seahawk receiver named David Moore. You're going to get kind of a rotation at that number 3. So I think there's going to be some spillage for Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. They are top 25 receivers for sure. So I have no problem getting those guys into my lineup. And yeah, 12 team. I think this is going pretty. This is one of my favorite best ball drafts so far. And yeah, stacking a Ryan Tannehill with Julio and AJ Brown. If you guys like stacking, like look at our quarterbacks. We could stack. We can get Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think we got to go after Matt Stafford. And if we wanted to get Sam Darnold as a 2 or number 3, I don't have a problem with that. But this is a really good draft so far. I think I'm feeling this one. So after we took Robbie Anderson, you have Kyler Murray went right after us. Brandon Ayuk, Chase Claypool, Cortland Sutton. Look at Trey Sermon. So look at the rookie running backs. I guess Travis Etienne in the 5th round here, but Javonte Williams in the 6th, Trey Sermon in the 6th as well. So you're starting to see those rookie running backs come off the board. I don't know how many more there are, but there's James Robinson in the 6th, Chase Edmonds, Juju Smith-Schuster. There's Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Chark. So our boy here, Laviska Shenault Jr. is coming up. We might be able to get him. I think we can get him at the 7-9. If you guys have any problems with Laviska Shenault, I think, we missed Russell Wilson. So Chark is off the board. There goes Herbert too. So we missed the run on quarterbacks. I think that's okay. We can find some kind of, tandem of Stafford, Brady, Tannehill, Burrow, Lawrence, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins. Best ball is fun because it kind of just makes the quarterback situation. If you don't get a top one, you just make a tandem or a trio or something here. So we could, we're probably going to have to take Matt Stafford here in the 7th. And I'm trying to, can I zoom out here? Oh. Trying to get the whole board to show up on the screen. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 teams have quarterbacks so far. I kind of like the Trevor stack here. Damian Harris, Melvin Gordon. So what do we do here, guys? Do we go after? I don't think we're gonna get Shenault on the comeback. Chenault's one of the top players. I like Deebo Samuel a lot. It's probably between those guys for me. We're gonna roll the dice and see if a quarterback slides through on the comeback here. We're just gonna take Laviska. He's a fellowship favorite here, and now we have a really good core because Chenault's gonna be starting in our flex spot. If you remember, the starting lineup is 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and 1 flex. So now we have to probably throw some daggers at some running backs, some good backup running backs. And yes, Shenault has been probably the best player at Jags camp this summer so far. And I'm excited. It's finally July, so we get to report to camp in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, after we take Shenault, you see Deebo Samuel, Mostert, Michael Carter. We should probably start queuing up some running backs. I still like James Conner. I like Zach Moss, Kenyon Drake, Tony Pollard. You can get A.J. Dillon to back up Aaron Jones, Naheem Hines, Jamal Williams. Latavius Murray. I like James White down here. It's a little cheap for James White. So we are on deck. Ryan Tannehill off the board. Mecole Hardman, Dallas Goedert. I think we got to take Matt Stafford here, guys. Huh? What do you think? Should we take Stafford here? And Chenault's one of the most talented. He probably was one of the best receivers in the draft last year. It was just the injury concerns. I'm leaning Matt Stafford here, and that would complete our starting lineup. And then from this point on, like now that you got Stafford locked in, I don't really care if we wait a little bit for another quarterback. We can get a guy like Matt Ryan's a top 12 quarterback. Something that really intrigued me actually when I looked at this. Look at where Kirk Cousins was last year. Quarterback 11. Threw for 35 touchdowns, 4,265 yards, and even rushed for a touchdown. So Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, those guys are on my list. Maybe we snag a rookie quarterback or two, whether that's Trevor Lawrence. I do like Tua Tagovailoa is dirt cheap. Baker Mayfield's dirt cheap. We can get Ryan Fitzpatrick on the team, Sam Darnold. So now that we got the one quarterback on the way, I don't think I'm going to press. I don't think I'm going to press for it. And then get Moss or Singletary. Joe Burrow. Like I have a feeling though, because if I zoom out, look at some of the. These three teams here, teams 1, 2, and 3, all don't have quarterbacks. So I think there's going to be a huge quarterback run right here in the 8th and the 9th round. Yes, I think we'll target Fitzpatrick. So after we take Stafford, you get Leonard Fournette, Curtis Samuel, Jalen Hurts, Will Fuller, Noah Fant. And now we're probably, Michael Gallup. We should have taken Michael Gallup. Dang it. I missed that one. There goes Brady. Probably a quarterback with one of these two picks, you would think. Aaron Rodgers. He's going to take another one. Yep, he does too. Joe Burrow. So here's the quarterback run. I'm going to filter by all. So there's some good receivers left. Cooks, Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, Mike Williams, some of my favorite, Jalen Waddle. I'm probably going to snag James Conner, though, for best ball purposes. That's the one that sticks out. So if we can get – we'll see about these receivers. But there goes Matt Ryan. I think for me, because we already have 4 wide receivers, it makes sense to snag a running back here. We're going to see all those good receivers go too. We're almost up to pick here. So at the top of the 9th round, that's where Joe Burrow goes. Antonio Brown, Brandon Cooks, Matt Ryan, Marquise Brown, Jarvis Landry. And yeah, I think there might be an opportunity for Waddle to fall. I really, really like Mike Williams, especially in a best ball league. Mike Williams, I know he only had 1, 2, 3, 4. He only had 5 games over double digits last season, but there's a lot of good reports coming out about him. There goes Logan Thomas. I think I have to take James Conner. I'll show you guys where I have Conner projected. And if you look at how he ended his season, like he was fine. And the start, like James Conner is a good running back. I don't know how many times I have to show it, but the Cardinals, they gave Kenyon Drake a ton of red zone touches last year. He was like 4th in the league in total carries from inside the 5. He had 9 touchdowns inside the 5-yard line. So James Conner, best ball league, I think sign me up. And I'll show you guys the projections real quick here. Conner is my RB24. I have him running for almost 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, catching about 20 passes, and maybe even catching a touchdown. James Conner I'm a fan of James Conner. So now I guess if we just look at kind of the positional stuff here, David Johnson, don't know if I want Texan. Zach Moss is interesting though, because it's sounding really, really promising for Zach Moss in Buffalo. A lot of people are pumping him up. It seems like a good fit. He probably will take. There goes Zach Moss. So he's off the board. But we just did our 0 running back strategy last night. Zach Moss was a part of the plan. I think Justin was able to draft him. I can't recall. But another guy here for best ball backups, like Gus Edwards. And for best ball, I kind of just look at how many times is the player over double digits. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 games for Gus Edwards over double digits last year. But we are up to pick. Your guy, Jalen Waddle, just off the board. We can get Tyler Higbee. We can get a nice fat Ram stack going. Stafford, Woods, and Tyler Higbee. Gesicki, Irv Smith, Tunyon. 20 seconds to do the job. Devontae Parker, Corey Davis, Darnell Mooney. I don't know if the receivers stick out to me yet. I don't know if any running backs stick out to me yet either. I'm going to pull Kirk Cousins here. And I believe, when is his bye week? Bye week 7. All right, we're going to pull Kirk Cousins. And now we're set at quarterback. Cousins and Matt Stafford. Someone's going to get 20 points every week. And if we really wanted to, we can still snag Fitzpatrick or Sam Darnold a little bit later. I just didn't want to. After that, there's kind of a cliff. Baker Mayfield's interesting because you see basically week 11, he kind of bottomed out. And then the rest of the season, he was actually pretty good. But I think a healthy Nick Chubb, a healthy Odell Beckham, like that team could be in good shape. But I don't trust it for my true quarterback too. I think I prefer Cousins. Let's actually look at Kirk Cousins. Just look at his game logs from last year. He only had one really, really terrible game. I guess 2. The Indianapolis game where minus 148 points, can't have that. And then another game here, 10 points. But otherwise, like he's got like 17 to 20 point floor for the most part. So I do like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a little underrated. So we're moving along into the 10th and almost 11th round. After we took Cousins, you got Devontae Parker. There's Marvin Jones, Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Higbee, Mike Gesicki, Tony Pollard. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about this. We're halfway through the draft. We have 10 of our 20 players. Our quarterbacks are Matt Stafford and Kirk Cousins. Our running backs, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, James Conner. Our 4 wide receivers are Terry McLaurin, Robert Woods, Robbie Anderson, and Laviska Shenault. And then TJ Hawkinson. So at this point, everybody else that we draft, they are going to be depth. They are going to be guys that maybe if there's an injury, they get pulled up to our starting lineup, or who knows, guys with high upside. So I'm definitely excited about. This is the fun part of the draft for me, actually, because this is kind of where there's no rules. Everything kind of just goes to whatever you feel you need to fill your roster. So it's kind of all over the place. But we're beginning the 11th round. There's Gus Edwards. There's Corey Davis. We can start, A.J. Dillon. I was thinking about A.J. Dillon on the comeback here. But a guy like Naheem Hines, Jamal Williams, Darrell Henderson, Latavius Murray. The running backs are starting to get thin. I really, really like James White a little bit later in PPR leagues, especially if Mac Jones is the quarterback. James White can be useful. He had 5 games over double digits last season. He had an 8 in there, a 9.5. He's got a decent floor for us if he has to start a couple of games. That'd be fine. But Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, James Conner, I'm not sure where the value is quite right now. So I just filtered by all, and let's see what happens here. We could take Elijah Moore, rookie receiver for the Jets. If you haven't heard about Elijah Moore's offseason yet, you probably haven't looked at too much NFL stuff. He's all over the place. And he's from the same school, Ole Miss, as DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown. It looks like Rodgers staying. What happened? What did I miss? What's your source? I'll look at that in a sec. We are on deck right now. Jalen Reagor is interesting. I think I got to get Elijah Moore here, though. The other guy that I'm very open to being more useful this season is Henry Ruggs. I mean, he only had 2 useful games last season, but it sounds like he might have a nice sophomore season. I'm gonna take Elijah Moore here. We're on the Twitter's machine. What are we looking for? There's an ESPN, Jeremy Fowler. And I know a lot of people were nervous about this July 2nd date. Yeah, I don't think Rodgers is opting out for COVID reasons. we'll see. I still think Rodgers is going to play this year. We are up to pick. I'm actually not a fan of Irv Smith. Darrell Henderson, Irv Smith, Jalen Reagor, Gronk, Latavius, Trey Lance. As far as everybody available here, it looks like Henry Ruggs is the best available player. Singletary, McKissick. I like Singletary, but I think it's Ruggs. I think it's Ruggs. So I want to show some stuff here because with Irv Smith, Kyle Rudolph is gone, but there has been some reports, even from the head coach himself, saying, I don't really see a much role change for Irv Smith down the stretch. If anything, it's going to be the backup tight end, Tyler Conklin, who's actually getting more workload on his plate. So Irv Smith last season, in the same role that he's going to be playing now, he was tight end number 23. We're going to scroll down here a little bit. Where is Tyler Conklin? Now, Tyler Conklin filled in for Kyle Rudolph at the end of the season, and he had a pretty nice end of the season. Weeks 14, I guess basically weeks 14 through 17, 5 for 40, 3 for 57 and a touchdown, 4 for 31, 3 for 40. So they really like Tyler Conklin. He was a former third-round pick, fifth-round pick just in the 2018 draft. So they're going to insert him into the Kyle Rudolph role, and then all of a sudden, Irv Smith, he's going to get on the field more. But I just want to look at the numbers. Weeks 14 through 17, when our guy was on, or when Rudolph was out, you see week 14, he gets 16.3 points, fantastic, 6.7, 23.3, and 5. So I guess for best ball leagues, I do get it. I just think he's going to be a little bit herky-jerky for the most part. So for redraft leagues, I'm probably not looking at Irv Smith, but I get it for these best ball leagues. And Aguilar is an interesting guy. I really like Jacoby Myers too. If we can get Aguilar or Jacoby, yes. And the thing for when I draft for fantasy, like I'm not with the tight ends. Like if you get a good one, you don't need too many more tight ends. If you don't get a good tight end, then I'm taking like 3 tight ends and I'm going to throw haymakers. So I do think if you want to draft Irv Smith, you plan to take 1 or 2 other tight ends with him that you could maybe filter out and see how the start of the season goes, and then you'll kind of know. So I'm open to Irv Smith being more on the plate, more work on his plate. But the Kirk with no fit. I do like Christian Kirk. And actually, follow me with this. Larry Fitzgerald, to end his career, he was a slot receiver for the Cardinals. If you guys remember, Christian Kirk in can't remember where was it Texas Tech? Can't remember where Christian Kirk played. But in college, Christian Kirk was a premier slot receiver option. College. So if I'm just thinking about, he was Texas A&M. If I'm just thinking logically here, Larry Fitzgerald's out. They bring in A.J. Green. A.J. Green's a premier outside receiver. He's older, but we'll see. So A.J. Green on the outside, DeAndre Hopkins on the outside. You're going to put Christian Kirk in the slot. So I do like Christian Kirk quite a bit. Yes. Well, Hawk can boom too. Let me pull up some of the Hawk numbers. And I guess the difference is Hawk's going to be a top 5 tight end, and with Irv Smith, I think it's gonna take a lot for him to get there. But Hawkinson already was a top 5 tight end, and I guess he is more consistent than Boom. But at that point, we can get some boomers later. So we are on deck to pick here. Rondale Moore. Probably need to look at running backs. So we missed on James White, Tariq Cohen, Kenny Gainwell, Jeff Wilson, Philip Lindsay, Giovanni Bernard. We're going to be a little weak on running backs in this one. We have 6 wide receivers. Let me see the tight ends here. What do you guys think about Jonnu Smith or Gerald Everett? I kind of like Jonnu Smith here. Because if we're talking about boom guys, Jonnu Smith and Irv Smith are kind of the same player for me within their offenses. So I'm gonna go ahead and snag Jonnu Smith here. Now we got Hawkinson and Jonnu Smith. Again, if Mac Jones is the quarterback, I do think there's good potential for the Patriots playmakers there. And then I think I have to get a Blake Jarwin share in this one. He's going to be our number 3, I think. Cole Kmet is interesting. We're probably looking at some kind of 50-50 duo of Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham, but Cole Kmet came on strong at the end of the year. but still, he might be a year away from being like a top 12 threat, but he's a good guy for best ball purposes. So we're moving on quarterbacks here. Darnold remains. Ryan Fitzpatrick off the board here in that round before us. I don't like the running backs here, but we kind of need one, don't we? Crowder, Paris Campbell, Mims, Perriman. What do you guys think about Traquan Smith with Jameis Winston? We'll go Derek Carr here, and then we're done with quarterbacks. So our quarterbacks are Stafford, Kirk Cousins, and Derek Carr. Let me pull up the quarterback numbers. Let's see here. So Derek Carr was he was quarterback 13 last year in this scoring format. In ESPN scoring, he was quarterback 13 again. So the only reason why I don't love Jonnu Smith either, but they paid him a lot of money to be there. And he's my tight end 14. I have Irv Smith as my tight end 17. So it's kind of all in that same value. But the guy that I really want is Blake Jarwin. He's the guy that I think is going to impress a lot of people this year. Austin Hooper, Anthony Firkser. I just think locking in a guy like Jonnu Smith paired with Hawkinson, that gives us those boom weeks because Jonnu Smith, as long as Smith is healthy, he's probably going to be a potential to lead that team in touchdowns. So he's got the 20-point ceiling potential. He's a touchdown guy for them. I think he's going to be a big part of their red zone offense. I kind of like getting Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith on my team. I think both those guys could be big touchdown performers for the Patriots this year. So we're moving into the 15th round, starting to see some tight ends off the board. Jared Cook, Zach Ertz. We probably need to start hammering some running backs. We have 6 wide receivers. We have 3 quarterbacks, only 3 running backs, and 2 tight ends. Cole Kmet, Blake Jarwin, Eric Ebron. The tight ends are probably going to get, after these top 3 guys, the tight ends really get pretty weak here. Dawson Knox, O.J. Howard, Dan Arnold maybe in Carolina. We'll see. It gets really slim there. But we probably need to take a stand on a running back. Well, the thing too, I mean, if it is Cam Newton, Cam Newton has had a ton of success with Greg Olsen in the past. I could see the tight ends working for him and helping that offense be with Cam Newton. But I want to see Mac Jones be the quarterback. I think that would be the best case for the Patriots offense this season. What do you guys think about Giovanni Bernard with Tampa Bay? I think he's going to be pesky. I think he's going to cap Leonard Fournette's and Ronald Jones' upside in the passing game. Tevin Coleman, I don't think Tevin Coleman's a great player. It's just they basically have the 49ers East offense with all the coaching staff that they have there. They're going to be running the 49ers scheme. Tevin Coleman could pop off for a few games here. I don't love it. Giovanni Bernard makes sense. I don't know what's going on with Todd Gurley. We're probably going to get some handcuffs at the end. Maybe Samaje Perine for Joe Mixon. We'll get maybe Darrell Williams for Clyde Edwards. Malcolm Brown, actually. I like Malcolm Brown in over there. Wide receiver, your Brashad Perriman still sticking out. I think I like Traquan Smith, though. You guys cool with Traquan Smith? We don't have any New Orleans Saints. And you talk about a guy with some big boom games. I mean, 21.4 or 23.5. The quarterback situation was a mess last year. I think Traquan Smith could be a guy that I just know he's been working out with Jameis Winston. They're going to be trying to get that deep ball going in the Saints system. So we have 7 really good wide receivers here. So we might be done there. Blake Jarwin. MVS he's definitely a target here. He's a little bit lower on the list. Giovanni Bernard, and this guy's going to take. All right, I have to do it. I have to take Blake Jarwin. He's my tight end number 11. He's going to be the guy that I'm going to tell people you can't leave your drafts without. He's a backup tight end. He's very cheap. He got hurt last season. Dallas offense produced a top 10 tight end with Dalton Schultz. So we're done at running back, and basically we have 4 picks to snag running backs or an extra wide receiver. So we're going to be going after the handcuffs. So we'll start to kind of pivot our draft here. But I really like our receiver group. That's Terry McLaurin, Robert Woods, Robbie Anderson, Laviska Shenault. Those guys are going to be our starters. And then just throw in a couple games from Elijah Moore. Throw in some Henry Ruggs big games. Throw in some Traquan Smith big games. I like MVS a lot. If we can get MVS on the squad, I think he had a really good end of the season. He played great against Tampa Bay. You're not going to find a guy that has that much upside at this point in the draft. So we're gonna pencil in Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Another guy I'm interested to, like if you had to take wide receivers late, Sammy Watkins with Baltimore. I don't mind him. I don't think I've taken Kadarius Toney at all. I'm very not on the. That was a bad first round pick. That you could see that coming from a mile away. He's a fun player, but I just don't think the Giants are going to know how to use him properly. So Gurley. He's been kind of doing. Gurley's been doing the veteran tour, hasn't he? Todd Gurley. What's this? This is a day ago. The ideal landing spot. The Detroit Lions. I don't like it in the Lions. If he doesn't end up in the Detroit Lions, Motor City, the Chargers could be a fun landing spot. While Eckler is the clear number one, the Chargers may not want him in between the tackles. So I agree. I think we should take Todd Gurley on the comeback here. That's a really good idea. I want Iggy Max Kilmarn. We got Darius Slayton. So I'm nervous about Slayton because Kenny Golladay is going to take all of his deep targets. That makes me a little bit nervous. And Le'Veon Bell, what's he doing? Has he been releasing any music lately? New Orleans Saints as a landing spot. He at this point of his career, he just wants a championship, so he's going to go to wherever he sees fit. All right, I don't know if we're going to get Marquez Valdes-Scantling. If we don't get Scantling, I like Lazard quite a bit too. Lazard's got some nice boom potential. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over double digits last season. What do you guys think about Deshaun Jackson with Matt Stafford? I know he seems to get hurt like every season, but when he plays, he's going to get us some points. I just want to see. So we could have waited to the end of the draft to get Jared Goff, who – even if you don't like Jared Goff, that he's going to be on a losing team and they're going to have to throw the ball a ton. So Jared Goff is a free square in the 17th round of best ball leagues. That's interesting. There's Mac Jones. There goes Goff. So we're on deck. We're going to close this out with MVS. We're just going to continue. We're done at receiver, and now we have to just kind of. Our receivers are fun. I like the best ball options. We got Ruggs, Traquan, and MVS to throw some bangers in there. Hopefully, one of those guys should pop off like every other week. So we got some good bangers there. We have some good starters. We're gonna take Todd Gurley here next. We're gonna take Todd Gurley here next. You're talking Jimmy Garoppolo? Did Watson get drafted at all? Let me see if I can find. Watson went 15th. There's been a couple times where I've drafted Deshaun Watson. For me, it's a preference call. I don't think he's going to play this year. I just don't think he's going to play. And yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, he should get like the first month and a half at least to start, but it just seems like it's going to be Trey Lance at some point. I just prefer to stay away from a situation like that. But we could do maybe one of these best ball drafts. I'll do a 0 QB strategy where our starting quarterbacks are like Teddy Bridgewater, Mac Jones, friggin' Jordan Love, and I don't know, Drew Lock, call it. But we missed on Pirine, dang it. We're taking Todd Gurley here. If Todd Gurley signs somewhere, like he still got touchdowns last season. I think there's still some stuff left in the tank. Just what do you, Justin Aiden? What do you guys think? Like, what's the best case scenario for Todd Gurley? Like, where does he sign that makes us interested? He's only going to sign for a contender. That's what makes me nervous. And all those teams, really have things in place. The Chargers do make a lot of sense. I like that fit. Let me see. Anybody? Seattle. What do you think about Seattle? Because Rashad Penny's got a busted up knee. It doesn't. He just had another cleanup surgery on it. Chris Carson, he's a big, violent guy. He really hasn't played a full season. I could see Seattle being interesting for Todd Gurley. I'm trying to think of any other teams here. The Lions make a lot of sense, but I don't know if there's got to be a contending team that's willing to take Todd Gurley. The Jets, the Lions. I like Seattle idea. I like the Chargers. Nowhere else really makes sense. But we're cruising. We have 2 more picks left in our draft. We're probably going to snag some remaining running backs here. So that's what we're looking at. We're kind of just taking handcuffs. Now, one of the guys, I saw someone, I don't know which one of you posted it, but you said Salvon Ahmed before. I actually think with the Miami Dolphins, I have Malcolm Brown projected as their number 2 running back. And for best ball leagues, he scored touchdowns for the Rams last year. He had 1, 2, 3 games over double digits, but he's a good pass catcher. He's a good kind of all around running back. He can pound it in between the tackles. I don't think Myles Gaskin's going to be the red zone back when they get in there. We'll see if it's Ahmed or Malcolm Brown, but I like that option. The Giants. So the Giants too, they also signed, we could take Devontae Booker because that's who they brought in to be the backup because Wayne Gallman left. He's in San Francisco now. So Wayne Gallman in San Francisco. What do you guys think of Jerick McKinnon with Kansas City? Do you guys know he was in Kansas City? And so Malcolm Brown's going to be their bruiser. Like when they get near the goal line, he's their biggest back. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be their Jordan Howard plotting in from the 1-yard line. And I like Salvon Ahmed, but the only running back they have paid to be there is Malcolm Brown. So I trust that they're going to use him. I like to follow the money sometimes. Ty Johnson for the Jets. What do you guys think of Boston Scott, Philly? There's your Le'Veon Bell. No team has signed Duke Johnson yet. Should we sign Duke Johnson? He had a couple games last year where he scored some touchdowns. Carlos Hyde. He's the number 3 in Jacksonville now. Man, it gets ugly down here. What if we take Kyle Juszczyk? He had 2 games over double digits last year. He caught some touchdowns, ran for some touchdowns. With this pick, we missed on Malcolm Brown. Dang it. What do you guys think of Justin Jackson? 1, 2, 3 games over double digits last season with Austin Eckler injured. He might be my most attractive player. I'm thinking it's Justin Jackson here. At this point of the draft, if we get 1 or 2 games out of these players, it's a win. Taking a handcuff like Devontae Booker, it does make sense. If Saquon Barkley goes down, he's going to be the guy. So I think it's Booker. With Le'Veon Bell, I don't like. He's never going to get a workload, even if he signs somewhere. I don't. The difference is Le'Veon Bell signed somewhere. It's going to take him. He would need an injury to get put into fantasy relevance. With Devontae Booker, it's the same thing, but at this point of of their careers, I don't know who's the better running back. So I'm thinking it's Devontae Booker. We just cap it off with him. He had done some nice things for the Raiders last season in his 1 year there. So I think it's Booker. We'll end the draft on that note. And this is the final draft. So our quarterbacks are Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. Not the sexiest group of quarterbacks, but they will get the job done. One of them will be a top 10 quarterback, maybe two of them. Running backs, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. Those are going to be our workhorses for us. We'll see if James Conner can get sprinkled in every now and then. But Todd Gurley, depending on where he signs, that's going to be a nice chip for us to fall. Justin Jackson. And I still think, even with a healthy Austin Eckler, you're still going to see Justin Jackson worked into the offense. And if anything does happen to Eckler, we got probably their best, shiftiest back. And Devontae Booker, we'll see what happens with him. If anything happens to Saquon Barkley, we're looking really, really good there. Wide receiver is our strength, I think, or it's probably our deepest, I would say that. Terry McLaurin, Bob Woods, Robbie Anderson, Laviska Shenault, Elijah Moore, Henry Ruggs, Traquan Smith, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I like those last three receivers because those guys are all just pop off randomly for, the 70-yard touchdown catch. We'll see what happens. Jameis Winston is intriguing me more and more each week. It feels like it's going to be Jameis Winston getting the starting job unless he throws interceptions and he gets yanked. But I like that receiver group. And then our tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, Jonnu Smith, and Blake Jarwin. So this was a lot of fun. It's about 2:14. I will be going live in about 3 hours. We'll do another hangout here. We'll just kind of read the news and just hang out and answer any questions you guys got. But the 20th round, it looks like, why does that keep popping up? Amari Rogers, Pat Freiermuth, Olamide Zaccheaus, there's our Booker. Mac Jones in the 20th round. That's probably that's a really good pick. Dalton Schultz, KJ Hamler, Jerick McKinnon, Jalen Guyton. There's Ty Johnson, and we'll see what else happens here to finish the draft. Who's your top 5 picks in the draft in order PPR? I think it's all running backs for sure. Let me pull up my rankings here. There's no other receiver or tight end I would consider. These are my top 5 backs. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. That's the order I would take them in. Now, I do think if Saquon Barkley plays a full 16-game season, you're looking at a really nice value at the 5th pick. So those are my top 5 backs. I think the hardest position to be in drafts this year is the 6th position. If somebody reaches up on Jonathan Taylor in the top 5, you're going to get a Henry or Barkley to fall to. That's great too. But those 6, 7, 8 spots, those are the most difficult spots for me. If you get to pick your draft order, I prefer to be at the end. I either want a top 5 pick to get one of these running backs, or I want to be 10, 11, 12, or 9, 10 if you're in a 10-man league. So those are my favorite preferences. Because if you get the 9th or the 10th pick, sometimes you get Nick Chubb to fall to you. Sometimes you get Ezekiel Elliott to fall to you. So that's kind of how my things have been going so far. But that's going to do it for this live stream. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll be live in a couple hours too. I don't know how long we'll hang out for tonight, but I will be live in a few hours. So thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you guys later tonight.